For joining us today as above, so below. This is definitely a day of teaching. When it comes down to universal laws, as above, so below, we're talking about mercurial energy. To each and every one of you guys, if this is your first time in my live, my name is Chief Apostle Samuel Jr. I am the apostle and pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs, those are African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. To each and every one of you guys, thank you so much for being a support of our platform, because this platform is for melanated people that practice the ATRs or the black arts, and also those that have left the church but still practice the ATR but still have church influence. So each and every one of you guys all around the world, during this opportunity to teach on my Bible study night, I thank God for each and every one of you guys, and I want to say thank you for all of you that have reached out to make sure that Chief Apostle Ely was all right and that he was doing good, and that I even had some of my tribe tell me, like, I'm in Georgia, I will come get you. I have people. My son called checking up on me, but both of my eldest son and my middle son. So I want to say hello. What's up, my baby Scorpio? Chiming in on tonight. I am definitely excited about this particular Bible study because this is something that I've been doing a very long time. I would say in the age of in my early 20s, I got really immersed into doing weather magic. And so I want to talk about that on tonight, because whether you're dealing with hurricanes or whether you're dealing with natural disasters, what we call them natural disasters, but really Mother Earth and the atmosphere is at work. And so many of us that practice real magic and real spirituality, we understand the importance of these things. And a lot of times when things begin to manifest in the physical, a lot of times we see them in a destructive way, but this is a part of what real conjure is, real mysticism is, and we're especially those that work with Kabbalah like I do, understand the manifestation of nature. If you have taken any of my classes, you will understand, whether you're intermediate, beginner, or advanced, I teach about how it interacts with the elements. So thank you so much as you guys are coming in. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for thinking so much. I want to say, first of all, salutations to my Madrina, to my Padrino, to my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Pala, Mystic, and Adjays. One of the things that I do during these opportunities, I did have to go to work today. They called us off of the road like after almost 2 o'clock. 2:30, whatever. But UPS is all about the Benjamins, and so we all out here for the money as well. But I want to share this with you because if you want to follow my real precepts about magic and manifestation, you will understand that when it comes down to things of this nature, when there's a physical manifestation, whether it's an earthquake or whether it's a storm, you will find me approaching things very, very differently. And I'm going to kind of explain why my mindset is the way that it is when it comes down to natural occurrences. And so therefore it is from, once again, sober-minded, and it is coming from a scientific an understanding. What's up there to each and every one of you guys? I want to say hello to Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Aquarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo. Hello to each and every one of you guys. I do realize that a lot of people are focused on the hurricanes and the storms, and if you practice real hoodoo, you practice real voodoo, you practice real conjure, you practice real hollow. Like I said, when I say real, that means that not only our conjure pots are representation. What's up, Darius? Not only our conjure pots are representation of nature, but also when nature responds in its own atmosphere, out of the control of our ngangas or our cauldron, that we're still supposed to respond correctly. What's up, Nisi, Aries in the house? Why this is important, because a lot of times when people get into Christianity, whether they get into Ifa or Voodoo, they get accustomed to things being in a controlled environment. Even if we go to the river, even if we go to the ocean, even if we go to the crossroad, even if we go to the forest, a lot of those things are They're picked on days where the weather is pleasant, I remember when I was going through my crowning with Ma Fedifun Oya, and this is my mother. These storms represent my energy, my frequency, my vibration. And I was talking to Mother Susan earlier, and I was telling her that, and because of the storm, a lot of times a lot of people reception is not that great, and so they're not getting the messages or what have you. So just excuse some of them if they find out later or not. But I was telling her earlier, if you're going to be a part of our ministry and you see these storms and you see these winds, it's a representation of my mother. And so therefore I won't look at it in a negative way. We have to understand that a lot of us have been babied when it comes down to practicing real magic, mudslides, natural occurrences in nature. These things are all a part. If you deal with Agayu and there's an earthquake or a volcanic eruption, these are all manifestation of our supposed natural magic and spirituality. What's up, Demetra? Thank you for chiming in. And so this is why you hear me use the terminology real magic, is because just because you put Agayu in a cauldron, or you put Agayu in a sepulcher, or you put Siete Rayos in a cauldron, it is a representation of the outward world of what Siete Rayos is. And so when you see lightning in the sky, you understand the formulation of what makes lightning strike. And these are the things that we're supposed to know when we're doing real magic. And so therefore, when we see nature operating, or the Orisha operating in nature, or the Impungo operating in nature, or the Egun operating in nature, this is how we're supposed to actually venerate. This is when we're supposed to celebrate, because our cauldrons, or our sigils, or our bebes, or our patipimas are representation of nature, of the universe. We see a comet, or we see the Milky Way, or any of these things. These are all things that we are the microcosm of. And so therefore, when they operate, it's like when we say Shango rules lightning, and lightning strikes a person, place, or thing. This is nature. It's no good nor evil. And so when we ask Shango to defend us against our enemies, and their house burned down, or their trailer burned down, or they catch on fire, they burn up in a car, these are the outward manifestation of real magic. And I believe, especially us that grew up in the church, we have adopted to our disadvantage a mindset of an environment that is conducive. What I mean by that is air conditioned, it's carpeted. Most of we have either padded pews or padded chairs, and real magic, real encounter in nature is not like that. When I go to the ocean and I'm walking on the piers and the rocks, I have to be careful, because there's slime on those rocks, there's corrosion on those rocks. In real nature, when we go out there to the rivers, there's alligators, there's snakes, there's real magic is not this, yes, Oshun is in my sepulcher, but when I go to the river, I'm very much aware that when I'm working Oshun out in nature, that I have to understand that there's other creatures in Oshun's waters that may be hungry. Okay, so I want us to get to the reality of magic. And then when you call a spirit has to enter into the atmosphere, and it has to manifest through one or more elements, whether it's air, fire, earth, or water, or even utilize. I have my wand on my Siete Rayos to put my energy into the storm. So I have it on Siete Rayos, because Siete Rayos represents all forms of fire. And so since lightning is in the atmosphere, my mother is Oya, and that is a part of her power, or representation of her power. These are the way that we tap into that Ache. And so when we pray, or when we petition, or when we call upon these spirits, we're calling upon them with understanding and clarity. Not just the clarity that we have with our bebes, or our sigils, or our hieroglyphics, or things that represent those particular energies, but we understand the respect That's what I should say. See, what happens and when nature manifests Oshun, when nature manifests Ogun, when nature manifests Shango or Oya or what is another Orisha? Asum Mare or whatever, then we get scared. But when we work in our cauldrons, we are like we can control that power. But when that power is at work in its free element, then all of a sudden we get a refined respect. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Weather magic and is it real? First of all, I'll give you a backdrop. I am an apostle and a pastor of Apostolic Faith of Jesus Christ Incorporated, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATR. And I want to say this. The hypocrisy of being crowned or to be in the church believing that we are operating in Christ-like energy is this. Every story or every parable, every pataki or every story of any religion talks about nature and how the Orishas or the Loas or the even the Greek gods, Zeus, all of these, how they interacted with nature, how they interacted with the winds of the earth. And even if you're talking about Horus and Isis being a winged creature, and her wings and her ability to fly and her ability to control the elements. And so therefore, how do we honor and how do we worship it? Whether it is with the Loas and the Peto spirits, how do we truly honor them in nature, and then ourselves are afraid of how nature responds? This is why we should have a healthy respect for that energy before we interact with that energy on in a confined area. And when I say confined, whether it's confined in the church, whether it's confined in a ceremony, whether it's confined in a cauldron, but the real raw power, the primordial energy that people claim that they can control, they can claim they can channel, when it starts to operate, that most people back down and back away. When lightning strikes, whether it's Shango or Oya, in real nature, you get you profound. It ain't got nothing to do with belief at that point. You understand the voltage. But when we have these altars set up and people walk, I have an altar in my church, my Fedifun Oya and my Fedifun Ayao, which is Ayao is the eye of the hurricane, and my Fedifun Oya is the hurricane herself. In the movie, in the sitcom, I'm not sitcoms, but the comic Storm would be a type of Oya. And when we see these energies, and when we respond to these, and this is why when you do your incense burns, or you do your candles, or you do your graveyard work, if you really coming from a place of knowledge, understand. What's up, my 69? Thank you so much for checking on me. These are the things that I find very funny and hypocritical of even Santeros, priests, voodoo, Bokor. Long as we can control that particular energy in a confinement area, all of a sudden we got the power and we can channel. But once we see Mother Nature or Father Sky at work, all of a sudden we get a profound respect for that same energy, not a different energy, that same frequency, that same vibration. But we realize at that point that you go get your goose cooked with lightning. You understand that if lightning strikes the river, not only will it boil you to death, but it will cook you to death. You understand? So how about starting out respecting it from the word Geo? How about understanding that when you're dealing with Egun, you're dealing with energy, frequency, and vibration? And this is why I say, even down to the church, when it comes down to the power of God, the power of the Holy Ghost, feminine energy, Shekinah glory, this is all, weather is atmosphere. I'm going to say that again. Weather is atmosphere. And when you understand atmosphere, which is the air element, you understand the clouds, which is the water element, you understand what makes the Bible talks about the firmaments of heaven. That means how the moon and the stars and the ozone layer, all these things that people pollute and people feel, especially melanated people, the fact that we don't defend nature, which is a representation of us, and the fact that we don't understand the atmosphere, which we are part of that atmosphere. As Rihanna say, diamonds in the sky. We are part of that chaos energy. This is why when it comes down to when nature responds and when nature's operating, we don't know how to operate in that. And so therefore people think that this is not real. They have charms that protect against lightning. They have charms that protect against bad weather. And so today I have my quartz. It's rutile. Rutile is when iron is I shouldn't say trapped inside, but engraded inside of quartz crystal. And so I had it on my water heater, and so I took it off, cleansed it up, and because I'm going to use this with my Apollo spirits, because quartz is a programmable crystal, and it also, I like to hold energy inside of my crystals, so when I have to do certain things, I make it makes it easier for me to do my manifestation work. So I'm going to be coming from, so I hope that you got it. I gave you kind of a preface of where I'm coming from, and so I want you to understand why I believe in weather magic, why I believe weather magic is real. Yes, I'm safe, honey. Actually, I have hurricane shutters. I have I don't have it up right now, but I have hurricane windows, and so, but it's not doing that. It's doing wind is blowing and all that, but it's not really doing anything over here. My Padrino is actually right in the direct path of, and I've been checking on him. He's been out of power since 4 o'clock today in their area. So I just been trying to keep up with him and other people, and you know, my sister and loved ones. Chloe called me, Minister Mario's daughter, actually my daughter now, called me to check up on me, make sure. She was upset that I had to go to work. She's like, "What's wrong with that? Why? That's crazy." But we had to go to work today. So let me get to where I'm coming from. And this is Bible study, so I'm going to take my time and really explain this. So if you took my advanced course, which is alchemy, and if you took my intermediate course, it's with how things connect with the elements and how you utilize the elements, whether Egun or whether Risha or Loa, and connect them with yourself and utilize them in manifesting and manifestation. And so I'm going to be coming from Mark, the 4th chapter, 37 through the 41st. And when I first started operating with weather magic, people used to call me crazy. My kids have watched me maneuver the elements, and my church members have watched me speak to storms. And so this is and this is what I love about the church. And this is why I tell people, you can't throw away the church because they're bad actors. You can't throw away the church because you're getting into Ifa or Voodoo or Santeria or Lakumi. Because the church itself, once utilized correctly, has taught us some powerful magic, have taught us some foundational courage, have taught us how to embrace certain divine attributes of ourselves, if it is in our abilities and in our capabilities. So I will be coming from Mark, the 4th chapter. And yes, I found my glasses. My glasses was actually in the glove compartment of the car. And I was in there looking for something else, and then I saw them. So, you know, I got my glasses. I kept saying I suffer no loss because of my glasses. That's something I quote. Now, Mark, the 4th chapter, 37 through 41. It says, "And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full." That means that the waters were inside of the ship. And it said, "And he was in the hither part of the ship," or the back part of the ship, "asleep on a pillow." This is Joshua. "And they awakened him, saying unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose, and he listened to this. He rebuked the wind," which that's what was the source of the storm, "and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. and the winds ceased, and there was great calm. And verse 40 says, and he said unto them, why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? I want y'all to hold on to that. Then it says in verse 41, and they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, what manner of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him. Now, what happens when it comes down to weather magic? And remember, with African science, there's always some scientific explanation of why we're able to manipulate the weather, manipulate the atmosphere. I have a wand over there constructed and allows me to utilize it to deal with the weather and the winds. One of the things I want to say in defense of the church world, the church have taught us a lot of things. And one of the things that the church has taught us is about the power of the spoken word. Now, those that understand the spoken word has to do with the Ache, right? Which is the air element. And when you understand that you carry a certain level of Ache, a certain level of energy, that you can speak to the storm. This is why you will see most Christian or people that are in certain Christianic faith, that they believe in speaking those things that be not. They believe in speaking to their situation. They believe in speaking to their sickness. And that comes from seeing other people that have had the ability to actually bring those things to pass. To watch Yahshua get up and rebuke the atmosphere or the winds. The wind is the energy moving. That's air moving at a certain speed. That's what a wind is. And so therefore, because Yahshua understood that he had the power over that element, that what he did was, when he rebuked, the Bible says, when you rebuke something, you scorn it. In other words, he was rebuking the wind, saying the wind was misbehaving. Are y'all hearing me? He said that the wind was misbehaving. He was bringing the wind in order or subject to being harmonious. So, a storm is a system of energy. By definition, a storm is a violent disturbance of the atmosphere with strong winds and usually rain, thunder, and lightning or snow. So that's what we call a snowstorm. So it makes logical sense why Yahshua rebuked the wind. Because here a storm is a violent disturbance. So when something is disturbing the peace, you rebuke it. A lot of times, especially in the church world, you know, we learn to rebuke people in the name of Jesus. In other words, if they're causing a disturbance, we rebuke in order to make it behave. I'm going to say it again. Most ignorant people that try to rebuke people, they don't understand. You can't rebuke a person for telling you the truth. You can't rebuke a person because you don't agree with what they're saying. You can't rebuke an individual because you do not have the knowledge or wisdom or understanding about which they operate in. And so therefore you rebuke out of ignorance. Let me say, I love that root. You think you love it. So I love the fact that when I was in the church, they taught us about the power of the spoken word. And since this is Bible study night, I want to break it down why it makes logical sense to be able to go out into a storm or a hurricane. What happens is you don't understand that a hurricane, before it makes landfall, and this is what you do with your problem, a system builds up Ache, and it utilizes the warm waters of Florida, right? And it utilizes the existing atmosphere to determine what type of energy it can pick up. And depending on what season we have our hurricanes, If we have hotter seasons, like it's been extremely hot, that's why our hurricanes, because fire fuels, right? So when you understand the energy of a thing, you understand the system by which it grows into power. It's like what we do, and most black people, I don't believe in reactive, but a lot of people do that. They wait till things get, you wait till the cancer, you wait till the situation gets so strong to now you got to endure the storm. I'm going to say that again. You wait till things build up, and you wait till things gain momentum. And then you try to utilize a spoken word when you don't have the ache to match the energy that storm has built up, that system has built up. So therefore, you can't bring it into order. You can't bring your finances into order because you let it get out of control. You can't bring your health into order because you let it get out of control. You can't bring your relationship into order because you have allowed it to build up and gain fuel to strengthen it to go the direction that it's going. And so that is because you did not understand the path of the storm. You didn't attack the situation before it got out of control. I should say out of control, where it got beyond your measure. When a storm is beyond your measure of rebuke and authority, now you must learn how to endure the storm. You must learn how to weather the storm. Okay? Because you did not gain control over the storm. See, the disciple was out on the ship with Yahshua, and Yahshua was asleep. And so therefore, they did not, he said that he was upset with them because how long do I need to show you the power of the spoken word? And none of them exercised that authority. Whether they failed in their endeavor or not, none of them even attempted to operate the way they saw there, because the whole purpose and the premise of being a disciple is to be a learner. I've watched people sit up in church and not learn nothing, not expecting to learn anything. I watch people take courses and not learn anything. I watch people integrate themselves with other people that had knowledge, but themselves never learn. The disciple is you are in the seat of study and to learn and to make sense of the magic by which you're trying to manipulate, control, or to disperse. That makes sense? This is why I believe that even in present day time that we have power and we could incur power to be able to control or utilize certain crystals, because I have certain crystals that affect weather and protect from the storm. So what I do is I utilize those crystals to maximize their energy in the radius, because the smaller a crystal is, I have to become the generator. So the bigger a crystal is, the crystal itself can become the generator, because a crystal can only cover so much range or territory or landmass. The bigger the crystal, the more landmass or energy its aura can cover. So all of these things are essential to being able to affect people, places, and things. Now, what I utilize, I have an amethyst cluster, not a crystal, a cluster that I have over there in the corner. Now, I sit on that. Now, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. But I sit on that because that quartz carries the violet flame, Saint Germain. And so it helps me to magnify my psychic range. So I utilize that to give me more radius, to affect more areas, people, places, and things at long distance. So a lot of times if I'm doing something, and even if I'm tired or not, I will sit on that crystal, and it allows me to use my ache and my energy field and to spread my aura at a greater distance. And so therefore I am able to manifest in different places and around the world. It's kind of like Xavier utilizing that helmet to reach out to more mutants. Same concept. It's all science. So the church has taught us about what has possibilities of being able to speak to the storms or the atmosphere, and to understand if there's a disturbance. So I say, listen, anything that pertaining to me, family, loved ones, don't touch. You understand? I go into the atmosphere, and I speak into the atmosphere, and I give a direct order, and I program the atmosphere. I program the air element. Listen, wherever you're going, make sure if they tied to me that you don't touch off on them. Tornadoes, mama, maperifun oya, yanza. Don't mess with my loved ones. Do your thing. Don't mess with my loved ones. And this is also relationship with your eguns, relationship with your Orisha, or your Mpungo, or your Loa, when they control, and that is their jurisdiction. And in this particular case, hurricanes are the jurisdiction of Maperifun Oya. And when you're doing spells and you're asking her to avenge me of my adversaries, she has to manifest, and she's going to manifest in nature. You can't just be a part of Obatala. You can't just be a part of Ogun. You can't just be a part of Nkisi and Pungo or Loa and not knowing how they manifest in the natural or nature, in the natural world. You need to have clarity. So when you see that and you see the impact of the power of your said Orisha or Loa and Pungo or even the Yahshua, the spoken word. You know, my ex-mother-in-law, there was a hurricane over her house, and the wind was beating on the top of her roof. And this is why I say people call you crazy, but it's why would you call somebody crazy when you claiming to be that we got power over all unclean spirits and the devil? So she wasn't even a big woman. She was not even tall. She ran out her house. She's a prophetess. She ran out of her house and she spoke a word. And she told them, do not touch her roof. Do not touch not one more shingle on her roof. I remember years ago, her daughter was living in the trailer park. And there was a fire out there. That woman went out there and spoke a word. It rained in her daughter's area. She had come to a place. She had come to a place of understanding of her goddesshood, that she could speak to that element. And this is why I say to a lot of you guys, whether you're in the church world, whether you are in Ifa, Voodoo, or Santeria, that if you're not going to do real magic, you're not going to do real conjure, then what are you doing? In other words, it's just a form of godliness or divine, but it denies the power of the very essence of that particular faith or belief system or tradition. And so my mother atmosphere and the storms and the hurricane are a manifestation of Oya, Yansa. And so therefore, you got to take, I'm going to use this term, you got to take the good with the bad. Just like with fire, you got to take the good with the bad. With water, you got to take the good with the bad. You can't pick and choose. And guess what? Do I want to be touched down by a tornado? No. But at the end of the day, it's still the odd check. You can't say that you're out here doing conjure and summoning spirit and attached to Egun. And when Egun starts to manifest in nature and through nature, then you yourself are operating through the spirit of fear or ignorance. And it does not serve the purpose by which you are supposed to be a part of. What's up, my jealous sweets in the house? Thank you so much, baby. So, is weather magic? What is weather magic? I explained. Is it real? Absolutely. But when nature begins to operate, are you prepared? When the winds begin to pick up, when the water begins to overflow, this is when you read these scriptures that I go through the fire, will not be burned. But you don't wait till something happens to try to figure out, are you walking in that particular energy? When we do our incense burns, a lot of the manifestation that you guys get from the, what's up, my Stormy? A lot of the manifestation that a lot of you guys get is because of my mindset already before you ever said, Apostle Ela, could you burn incense from me? Apostle Ela, could you do this? Could you do that? I harness energy, frequency, and vibration. When nature begins outside of my cauldron, outside of my prayer room, outside of my my crystal, because I showed you guys a little earlier. This is rutile. Rutile is when iron is immersed inside. If you look here in the back of it, that's iron, and it's quartz. So it's called rutile quartz, and this can be utilized for protection from evil spirits, harmful energy, or it can be utilized for anything. I'm just utilizing it now because I'm cleaning it up, and I'm going to put it over there with my Apollo spirits to actually, especially with Zarabanda, to magnify his energy in my cauldron. I say these things, and when you hear me in my videos or you hear me in my spiel, it's really, when I say I do real magic here, I do real conjuring, I do real mysticism, because what I am saying, I don't have to practice magic in a comfortable environment. I can go out into the storm and utilize that Ache in real time. I'm going to do I have to buy another fire pit. My fire pit, I was trying to move it and it broke, so I got to buy another fire pit. But in real time, can I utilize the winds? If you're not in a place where you're in danger of the storm, this is the time to burn your incense. This is the time to, if you're just dealing with the winds and that kind of stuff, and it's not really that bad, utilize nature to carry. Air carries your prayers. Air carries your words. Air carries your messages. This is the time for you to receive messages from the Egun, the spirits, the Egun. I got a video from one Kingmaker, and she had been watching this video about Bobby Kim about Egun. Egun ride the waves of the wind, which is Oya. So your ancestors, when I'm doing conjuring in the cemetery or even at trees, at the saber tree, then the wind picks up. That is the manifestation of the Egun. So this is the time to burn your ancestor incense in this particular atmosphere. This is when your Eguns can actually reach you. This is when your Eguns can actually manifest. This is not a time of fear if you're not in the direct path of the hurricane. This is a time to utilize that Ache to carry your messages to heaven. This is a time to speak to your Eguns that you may have not had a trouble getting in contact with. If you do have an ancestor altar, this is the time to light that incense or feed them, because the other Eguns that are attached to them, they're going to be able to move more swiftly because of the currency, because air is moving faster. Some of these winds are going to be in some areas 20 miles an hour, some 40 miles an hour, some of them are going to be 80, some are going to be 100, some are going to be 100, whatever they are. That the faster the wind. This is why when I go to the ocean, I go out all the way to the brink, because I want that wind to be whipping over that water, to carry that prayer, to carry that petition. And now that the atmosphere is charged with air element being carrying messages, receiving messages, bringing spells in, carrying spells out. This is when you can send out that harmful working that is against you. This is when you can call those things in that be not as the winds are nothing but male men and male women. Carriers of energy. You would have learned that in my classes, whether intermediate, beginner, or advanced. When you see nature speaking, you should understand where we stand in nature and what can be utilized to the benefit or your manifestation. That's why I believe that certain people should not be up preaching. I believe that certain people are not called or chosen to guide and lead people. Because you cannot preach except God send you, and you cannot give a word except God has given. You don't have revelation insight. You don't understand how cosmos operate. You cannot give clarity to God's people, whether it's water, fire, or earth. You know what I'm saying? And this is why when magic begins to manifest in nature, most black people, especially Christian, they run. I've never seen so many people, like, they run from the storm and the storm following right there. Because Egum is in the winds. If you're going to practice necromancy, if you're going to practice veneration of ancestors, sir and ma'am, talk to any real practitioner, any real spiritual necromancer that work with the Gede. Egum, Muerto, your ancestors, manifest through air element. They are carried to you and away from you through the wind. Spirits come in through the wind. Spirits leave or dismissed through the wind. So just because we're dealing with a storm, which is my mother, which is my element, just like we, do I have anything up here? If you deal with Moldavite, it's considered a storm element. Any Tektite, it considered a storm element. These are very, very. A storm element is considered like ether, primordial, outside of just the basic elements. So this is why this type of magic. Oh, there go my Tara. Let me go get your 7 chakra. Why it's a storm out on the ocean. And then when she went out there and was manifesting, and that storm left her house, all of a sudden she went from being called crazy to, oh my God, she got power. Same thing about me. When you start when you're doing your weather magic, you look crazy to those that are non-believers. And I'm talking about those that are in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Christian. Most people have a form of godliness. They deny that power. I respect energy. Even if I step out into something, I still respect the energy. Whether it's fire, whether it's water, whether it's earth, whether it's air. I respect it. Because I'm dealing with energy. Whether it is extraterrestrial, whether it's celestial, I respect energy. It doesn't matter where the energy comes from. Whether it's hot or cold, I respect it. Whether it's ice, I still respect it. The part and the problem is that melanated people don't respect energy at its base. And so therefore, understanding how it operates in nature is even more a struggle for a lot of them. Chakra incense. And then I'm gonna miss your I gave you 2 of the chakra incense, and then I'm gonna mix it with oil of gladness for my Taurus. This is Wednesday. This is also a good day to burn your mental clarity. This is why I say in everyday life, if you were truly practicing real magic, if you were truly operating, that's storm Tektite, yeah. That's the storm element. And so when you understand that, you respond to nature very different than non-believers. Don't just think because you're in a tradition or you say you believe in something that you're still not a non-believer. The disciples were right there with Yahshua and were still non-believers. The disciples were right there learning from Yahshua and still was non-believers. The disciples was right there seeing the manifestation of Yahshua and still was non-believer. After he had rebuked the wind, after he had calmed the sea, their response was, teach me that. No, that wasn't their response. They were like, what manner of man is? They never understood that they would one day be doing those exact types of workings. They didn't understand that to be a disciple, to be a learner, is for you to understand the foundation of what magic is. And why Chief Apostle is speaking to the elements beforehand. I already said, listen, this is what time it is, this is what's going on. I don't wait till a storm is already raging and then I want to run out there in the midst of a storm. I'm already, because every storm has a spirit. Every storm has a spirit. Every area has a spirit. So let me talk to the head spirit of this storm. Not who man has named this storm. I want to speak to the governing spirit. So in my knowledge of the air element, Cher is the archangel of the air element. And so I speak to them to govern that. Then I speak to the four winds. There's in Christianity, you know, you got Gabriel, you got Michael, you got to understand what spirit or what angel rules over certain winds. And then I have an oil that I comprise of that represents the four winds of the earth. So I'm not just out here haphazardly talking. I'm not just out here giving you information from something I've read. This is something I've utilized down through the years in my early 20s. I am 51 years old. I'll be 52 in December. I have been doing weather magic a very, very, very long time. And any form of magic should be approached with respect. Just like you would respect your cauldron, your altar, your church, your mananza, your elay. Nature would be no different. When you go to the ocean, it should be with respect. When Father Sky is in operation and Shango and Oya or whatever you call your particular deities by those same elements, it should be approached with respect. And because we do not and have not learned to be respectful of the outside energy, because we have no respect for our inner energy. You can cook a meal on the stove when you respect the stove. The moment you disrespect the stove is the moment you burn or you drop a pot. When you get careless and you don't understand that the instrument that you're working with can actually hurt you or burn your house down, that's why things happen. But when you always step into the kitchen understanding that there are utensils in that kitchen that can bring hurt, harm, or danger to me, and you always walk into that kitchen with respect, every time you plug something in and pull something out, you understand that I shouldn't yank that plug out of there because there's still electricity in there and that could cause me some harm. And then when you behave with magic, with carelessness and a lack of respect, this is why you have negative responses to that energy. But weather magic is no different than any other type of magic. And you cannot practice any other kind of conjure without respecting weather. Because that is the manifestation of the Orishas. That is the manifestation of the Impungo. That is the manifestation of the Loa. The Egun. They all manifest in nature.
My initiation couldn't even start if I didn't create the storm first.
Thank you. Thank you. It's when that's why I say, and I will continue to say, when it comes down to real magic, I don't believe that our people are ready, because they're still embracing and holding arms and locking arms with Christianity. And that is going to keep you in fear. That's going to keep you running away from nature instead of embracing nature, because to embrace nature is to embrace thyself. And so, how am I going to be upset with nature when my house is not natural? Can I say that again? The house that I live in is not natural. The winds, the storms, the rain, all of that is natural. My church, my natural church, is not natural. It is man-made. It's man-constructed. I need y'all to understand that. A lot of times we think when you dealing with the raw energy, the raw ache, my body is nature. This house is not nature. These lights, not nature. Lightning is nature. The air conditioning system is man-made. It's not natural. The winds, the cooling of the air, that's natural. I need us to get back to understanding. If you gonna operate in any form of manifestation of real magic, you got to understand how the system of our real magic, whether it's a storm, whether it's a river, whether it's a lake, whether it's a swamp, whether it is a mudslide or earthquake, we need to understand that. And there were millions of years that we understood that. And that's why you have hieroglyphics and symbology of these particular energies, frequencies, and vibrations.
Right. Tactless action.
So, this is when we will move from hoping and having faith to having understanding and clarity and a knowing. This is what I do as an alchemist to get this particular outcome. This is what I do as an alchemist to get this type of healing. This is what I do as an alchemist to get this type of manifestation. Somebody send a cash out. Okay, I got Stormy for Ancestor, and I got Darius. Hold on. Now, if you're burning it tonight, realize that your instant burns are going straight into the heavens. They're being carried by very strong winds. That's a good thing, sir and ma'am. I'm just trying to get you to click. This is the time to make manifestation happen very, very, very quickly for thine self. Okay? In the church world, we say set the atmosphere. Where Mother Nature done set the atmosphere. All, whether you Baptist, Presbyterian, Lutheran, AME church, whether you are denominational or non-denominational, the atmosphere has been set. It's time to praise Him. I'm going to say it again. The atmosphere has been set. What you going to do? The winds are blowing and they're flowing freely. What you going to do? You going to sit there and wait till they calm down and talk about the mail carrier? Now it's going to come slower. Right now, with the velocity of what the wind's going, things are going to manifest extremely. Everything manifests for a reason. The tornadoes come in, clear out the land. You know, oh, you bring destruction, but then after that, you got room. That's for Ancestor, for Stormy, and then Darius. See, I'm here to make it make sense. Now, what you do, sir and ma'am, is your business. But I'm trying to show you that there's people up there been preaching and teaching to you. They have no clue. They can't even explain this because they don't live this. They live a form of godliness. Whether in the Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Christianity, Palo, it don't matter. They, outside of their Nganga, they don't know how to relate. Outside of their cauldron, they don't know how to relate. And that's a problem. That's a problem. You can't see Oshun in nature. That's a problem. You can't see Ezeli Dontor. You can't look up in the sky and understand the constellation of Medusa. You don't understand that energetic constellation. The stars, the formation of the stars. All of that, the Milky Way. All of that matters to our manifestation. That's why astrology plays a big part in my magical practice. Got Keish Egun. And I know this makes sense because I break it down to the lowest common denominator. I don't care how slow you is. This ain't hard to catch on. All of this, that's why they have in certain areas of the United States, they have windmills, because they know that air still is energy. There's all of it's energy, but windmills in a certain area produce energy for their particular area. Utilize the wisdom that I'm giving you. Let me get Darius on. Ancestor, guardian, and money. Okay. Whew. This root is not plain. See? It's so smoky in here. Normally I have the door open. Ugh. Hold on, y'all, because it's burning my eyes. Don't look at my outfit. And no, this ain't pajamas. And ancestor, guardian, and money. Okay. Darius, Pisces. Ancestor, guardian. So let me break it down to you like this, okay? Since we understand that the air element is the carrier of energy, right? So now the other part of manifestation is when you receive your mail, you got to go to your mailbox, right? So your mailbox may be your altar. Your mailbox, if you don't have an altar or existing altar, then your mailbox will be your mind. Because your mail or your message has to be delivered to you. So if you don't have a constructed altar set up, so if you have an altar, say for instance you were petitioning Oya, like I had did Karen O'Brien and her daughter's Bayberry candle, and I did I put Monique. What did I put Monique's 7-color candle? I think I put Monique's 7-color candle with Ayao. So that's where the message was sent from. So a part of that communication is now the message is coming back to me, and now I need to receive the message at my mailbox. Okay, so to all of you that have an altar set up for Egun, this is where you go to commune to get the message, to retrieve the mail, to retrieve the message. Okay, then that means that you have to read it, right? In other words, you have to discern the interpretation of how Egun speaks to you at your altar. If you do not have a physical altar set up for Egun or to receive from Orisha or Loa and Kisi, the next thing is your mind, your crown chakra. That what receives all messages. This is how we use the terminology as psyche. Psychic means psyche. And so now your mind has to have room. So just like your email, you can have multiple messages that has been downloaded to you, but you have not opened or interpreted any of those messages. And so therefore you're not benefiting. This is what what happens with people that don't understand real magic. You can't just put a petition out there. You've got to be able to receive the message and then act upon that information that you received. So therefore you can make it materialize into your physical existence. Just having mail sitting, because I got mail sitting in my mailbox right now. I can tell you what it is because I haven't went out there. I haven't went to the altar. Some of y'all you got mail. You got mail. You got mail. You praying but you ain't watching. You speaking out your mouth but you not expecting. So therefore when you get mail or messages, and you don't go in there in your mind, in your psyche, in your inner voice, and actually figure out what is being said to you, and then if you're a type of person, you read it, you don't agree with it, and you don't respond, you don't take action, what is the benefit of you communicating with a deity or Egun or whatever, and you're not going to take the message and apply them?
I'm home today and not work. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm actually off tomorrow too, as well. Thank you, Weems. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's what I'm talking about. Just bless me just because. Appreciate that. Y'all know that do something to me when y'all do things like that periodically, and just show me love. Just possibly this for you. This, I don't need to do nothing. I don't need to do this just for you. So this is why I'm breaking this down. So if you are listening to anybody else, these are the foundational premises of manifestation. Don't matter whether you are strong in necromancy or Egun, whether you a beginner, intermediate, whether you're utilizing an altar, whether you are utilizing crystals, or however you're venerating Egun. And remember, because I have to do this, I'm gonna insert this, but I'm gonna do for Kingmaker, I'm gonna do actually a video with this Bobby Kemet video, because when you hear me say you are your ancestors, on a cellular level, cells produce cells, and so this is why we are putting on the flesh of our ancestors. There are people here before me. This is why we are product of our mother and our father, and therefore, when I'm gone, there are going to be people that have to have my cellular structure, which I have 3 sons, and they may procreate themselves through the vagina walls, of course. I had one of my co-workers, and he was talking about he wanted to have a baby. I said, well, you know, you sleep with me, and you're not going to have no babies like that. You know, that's a different kind of sex. You know, I wasn't trying to be funny, but I'm like, you ain't going to never get no baby that way. Yeah, that's an anus. Or you giving it, however. But the thing that I'm trying to say is, understanding energy, the pathways, the frequencies, it is more complex when you are doing real magic. And so therefore, people that do real magic understand that you can't rush the process. That system took a while to get here. And it already has a flow of energy that is picked up. When you put something out in the ether, when you petition something, it has to be carried out. And it may go through, just like the hurricane went from a 4 to a 3. It may even go down as it goes over the terrain, get down to a tropical storm. But the point is, as the system breaks up, it's still a storm. Something does not have to come in at a category 5 to be respected as a storm. Any system, this is why I say we all have energy, we all have a soul, we all have a spirit, and so we all have a system of energy, a vortex of energy. Some of us are more advanced, more illuminated, all of that, but we all carry a system. And what happens to your magic along the way, because you are not rooted and grounded in certain truth and have certain respect for certain universal laws, when you encounter certain people, places, and things, your spells, your energy breaks up. And it loses momentum, it loses power, it loses its ability to come into fruition. Same thing by Egun. You cannot out here practicing with Egun and got a problem with Egun. You have to have a love for self first. You have a respect for order in self first before you go out here trying to mess with the energy of another ancestor that has their own mentality, own mind, and own personality. Every energy of your ancestors have their own mentality, their own element. If you did not get along with grandma, auntie, uncle in life,
their energy is not going to get along with you because they're absent of body. So, sitting down, counting up the cost, working with Egun that work with you, working with Moreto that work with you. And I tell you again, some of y'all, it's not that you ain't doing magic. It's not that you not making it. You too much of a liar. You too fickle. You too up and down. You too wishy-washy. I remember my son was doing a spell for his business and to promote his income, and he got frustrated with the management and he decided to leave. But he had already put down the work, and then something happened. He ended up coming back, and things went to pop as soon as he got back. That because he walked into his own manifestation. Energy is never destroyed. When you put a spell out there, positive or negative, it's still out there. That's why return to sender works. Because it's the energy you put out there to harm me, and I only sent that energy back. The air element carried it back to you. This is why I told you about my reversal incense. I call it my AK-47 because I got certain things in there that allow it to kick that work back, and with a violent response, basically. But if you're out here doing stuff to people, and that means when I say doing stuff to people, there's a terminology in the Bible or in mostly in Hebrew. It's called the sin of omission. When you omit to do what you're supposed to do, it is just as wrong as somebody doing what they shouldn't be doing. When there are certain things that the Spirit has spoken or the Spirit has commanded you to do and you don't do it, it's called a sin of omission. And that's the same thing in any ATR. When you don't do your part, you don't do what you're supposed to do, that's what slows down your manifestation. Because you have omitted your role in somebody else's manifestation. So therefore, now it is hindered your manifestation in your personal life. We all play a role in manifestation. It's a system of things. If I can ever get melanated people to understand that, you having a hang up with people, places, and things, gonna bring a hang up in your own manifestation. Because you don't know who the divine mother or father want to utilize to bring to pass whatever it is that you're asking for. And everybody that manifests for me don't like me. I'm going to say that again. Everybody that manifests for me don't like me. Are not in agreement with what I am doing and what I am practicing. At the end of the day, sir, ma'am, that's irrelevant to me. As long as it comes to pass, who the divine chooses to utilize that is irrelevant to me. I can not like nan bone in your body, but I'm going to bless the Lord for you. If we can get to that place, you will be surprised at what you start experiencing in your everyday life. Because sometimes the people you like are not a part of your manifestation. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes the people that you like and are in agreement with are not a part of your manifestation. Only what you have petitioned correlates with the energy and frequency of said people, places, and things or animals. They are a part of your manifestation. The person that you would not hang around may be a part of your manifestation when you're asking God to avenge you of your adversary, and all of a sudden they friend whoop their ass. And you say, Lord, I thank you. Would you hang out with them two people? No. But that other person over there talking about you, and because you asked the divine to manifest, avenge you of your adversary, now the divine has used their friend to whoop their ass. I'm trying to give you different examples. You don't have to get along or be a part of a person, place, or thing. It's all about manifestation. Let me make sure I ain't forget nobody before I go. Oh, wait a minute, that's it. I think I got everybody. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So, once again, is that unveiling air? What's up there, my Pisces? I'm not telling you to be ignorant. What I am telling you to be scientific. To understand that storms are part of our existence. We manifest through storms. We manifest through every aspect of nature, whether nature is calm or nature is in an uproar. Don't matter. Lightning in the sky, that's why when lightning strikes a tree, why you think spiritual people trying to get a piece of that tree? Because we understand the energy of that Ache that comes from that lightning striking that tree. We understand that. If we nail you to that tree that was struck by lightning, we understand it's going to give a rapid manifestation. We understand that. That's why when certain rocks are struck by lightning, we understand that. When certain meteorites hit the earth, why we want a part of that? Because we understand the Ache. Like, don't be ignorant all your life. It don't matter what you practice, whether you solitary, whether you are in a coven, whether you are in an elay, whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or you on the sideline watching. There's scientific proof behind weather magic. It's real. It's to be respected, but it's real. It's to be acknowledged, but it's real. And just because you don't live a real life, in other words, our places we go to work, those are artificial. The houses we live in, artificial. The cars we drive, artificial. But we want nature to manifest in us. So let's get back to nature. This is why some of you have not yet walked outside with barefoot. Because those shoes, unless you're spending like $200 or $300, that ain't real leather. That's pleather. That's cardboard. That sole, that ain't real. That's not raw material. The more you spend on a purse, the more raw material you're getting, which is natural. That's why you have to spray your purses or keep them in a certain place, because they perspire. Because the material that it's made from is natural, is real. So it has to be kept in a certain environment. Ergo, same thing. The more natural you're able to deal, the more you're going to be able to be a conduit of real Ache, real energy. All right. Love you all. Appreciate you all. And once again, thank you for chiming in and checking on Chief Apostle Ely and all that we do here for melanated people, so we can no longer have to walk around willingly ignorant, in the dark, in despair, and in fear. Let us understand what nature really is. All right. God bless you. I will see you guys later on. God bless you.